Hi, in this video, we want to take a look at some continuous distributions. So far for the distributions, we've talked about discrete distributions, specifically ones that were related to counting. Then we talked about the normal distribution. Now we want to talk about other continuous distributions. All right, what does it mean by discrete and continuous? Discrete means that there's like a gap between the possible observations. Continuous means that there is no gap, and any value in between any two other values can be achieved. Now, that isn't a complete answer. If you're a math major, if you're a mathematician, you know that there's flaws in what I just said. That's all right. For us, for the purpose of data analytics, we don't care. Okay, so let's go ahead and start digging in. Once again, I'm taking information from an introduction to statistics with Python, and on GitHub, you can get the code that I'm using. And the textbook is free to download from the UCF library website. Right, the distributions that we want to talk about in this video are the exponential distribution, the t distribution, the f distribution, the logistic distribution, log normal, and the uniform distribution. All right, exponential. When do we use this? This one is used when we're talking about we're interested in the time between events, such as the time between customers getting through checkout lines. The t distribution is strongly related to the normal distribution. Normal distribution is the preferred distribution. We use the t distribution when we don't know the variance of the population we're interested in. The t distribution in real life is usually better to use than normal. And now back in the day, when there were no computers and people had to use tables and do calculations by hand or weak calculators, the normal distribution was more important in analytics. Nowadays, with modern technology, there's really very little reason to use the t distribution instead of the normal distribution. The exception of that is such as when we're computing, I think power and whenever we don't, or sample size is another one. All right, the f distribution, we use the f distribution when we're interested in analyzing variance of a normal population. The logistic distribution is useful for when we're interested in the odds of an event. Log normal is a highly skewed distribution. So when I say skewed, it's skewed right. That means if I look at it, from your perspective, it's going to go like this, and it's going to go drag way far out. I've got this tail going far, far out to the right. All right, well, that's common in financial, anytime I'm dealing with money. So anytime I see a really, really long tail to the right of my data, log normal is a likely candidate to work for us. And then we're going to talk about the uniform distribution. The uniform distribution is where probabilities are constant. The probability of an event between two particular ranges is proportional to the length of the range. So the probability of something being between 1 and 2 and the probability of being between 1 and 3 is they're going to be 1/2 or double of the other, depending on how you're looking at it. We have the probability of being between two events is proportional to the length of the interval. All right, so now let's go ahead and start running some code. So I'm going to use Pylab inline there's a magic function to get several packages loaded real quick and easy for me. I'm pressing F9 on Spider. All right, so now I'm going to import stats from SciPy. Now, okay, so you'll notice that I'm not actually loading the entire SciPy package. I'm only loading stats. This is a good practice to get into. What you want to prevent package confusion. Remember that Python is very much an open source system, and you can get package confusion. You don't want to deal with it. Usually it's not an issue with Python, it's more of an issue with R, but it's a good practice to only load what you need. And now let's go ahead and let's update some parameters for matplotlib. I want to change the font size to 18. All right, so now we're going to create a custom function for us to display the different distributions. Okay, so what does this do? This takes the distribution that I'm interested in and it's going to apply it real nice and pretty for us. And so that way we can get an intuition about what's going on with these different distributions. And when you're teaching, so just let you know, my opinion on custom functions while teaching is that they're a bad idea. I feel like you should just do it with base functions that come in the package, because students will rarely come across custom functions again, at least the one that you built. It's very advantageous to build custom functions. It's a very good idea in your projects, but for teaching, you shouldn't do it. I feel like this is I'm gonna go ahead outside my comfort zone and do this. So just kind of work with me on this. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the normal distribution. All right, so what's gonna happen is I'm going to use the stats the stats part of SciPy to generate normal data. And what we're gonna do, I'm saying that I have a mean of 2 and then a scale of 4. And so what we're trying to do is we want to look at the normal distribution. And you can see we have that bell curve. So here's standard normal. And here is the normal distribution with mean 2 and standard deviation of 4. So you can see the greater the standard deviation, the more spread it out. A standard normal has mean 0, standard deviation 1. And so this is kind of like our benchmark version of the normal distribution. When do we use the normal distribution? We use the normal distribution anytime that I'm working with averages of samples. If I'm dealing with averages of samples, then the normal distribution is probably the one I want to use. And oddly enough, if a lot of situations can be interpreted as working with an average, therefore the normal distribution comes up a lot. All right, so now let's look at the t-distribution. Okay, so for the t-distribution, I'm in a situation where I believe I have normally distributed data, but I don't know the sample variance, or I don't know the population variance, excuse me. I don't know the population variance. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to work with a normal distribution. I'm going to work with a t-distribution, because that accounts for the fact that I don't have sufficient information to work with the normal distribution. Now, you'll hear in your introduction to stat class that if your sample size is 30 or greater, just use normal. Yes, that's true, but with modern technology, it really isn't a difference. You might as well just use the t-distribution. It's a little bit more precise. All right, what's going on? Why do they say that 30 rule for you? If I have 1 million data points, then the t-distribution will be very, very close to the normal distribution. The more data points I have, the closer the t-distribution is to normal. If I only have 2 data points, then it's going to be very far from normal. It's going to be very spread out. And so we say that it converges in distribution to the normal distribution. Most of the time, we don't really care about this. Just let the machine, just tell the machine you want the t-distribution. Let the machine figure out the degrees of freedom and just run with it. I find it's a better way to approach. All right, so now let's look at the exponential distribution. All right, the exponential distribution is a distribution where we have, we're interested in the amount of time between events. All right, so what's going on here? This is the standard exponential distribution where the parameter is 1. All right, so if I look at the blue curve, notice that it's, it's always 0 if it's less than or equal to 0, and then it's positive above the positive numbers. Okay, so what's going on is if I'm dealing with time, I can't have negative time. Now, you'll notice that in this parameter, we put a -2, and we rescaled it to 4. All right, so -2 shifted it over to the left by 2, and the scale is greater than 1, so it's more spread out. That means I have more mass. I'm more likely to have events of bigger numbers than I have with a standard exponential distribution. You can see that there's a lot, because this is really high up on the graph, there's a larger probability of events just a little bit bigger than 0. All right, let's take a look at the F distribution. The F distribution, I use this when I want to analyze variances from a normal distribution. Specifically, if I have two different populations and I want to know, do these two populations have the same variance? Okay, so what we'll end up doing is we'll be taking the variance from each of the two populations. We take the ratio, and then we look at the ratio in terms of the F distribution. So this 3 and 4, this tells me that there are 3 degrees of freedom for the first population, 4 for the second. Well, usually 3 means that we're going to have 4 sample observations, and 4 means we have 5, 1 greater, usually for the F distribution. And then we have 10 and 15 as our degrees of freedom for the 2 different variances. The F distribution is used in ANOVA and an analysis of variance. So ANOVA is analysis of variance, and it uses the F distribution. The F distribution analyzes variance. All right, next we want to take a look at the uniform distribution. All right, so here you'll notice that it's flat. So what this is saying is that the probability of something, of an event occurring between 2 different values is proportional to the space between those 2 values. Now, it has to be between 0 and 1 in this example. So if it's too small of a value, it's just 0. It's not going to happen. Too large of a value, it's 0 also. This is a good distribution to use when you don't know what's going on, and you know that there's a maximum and you know that there's a minimum value for your observations. Now, the logistic distribution, this is useful in logistic regression. So when do we use this? We use this when we use this to analyze the log odds ratio of data. So if I'm interested in analyzing the odds of an event, the logistic distribution is a good way to go. All right, now let's take a look at log normal. Okay, so log normal, you'll notice that there is a lot of stuff to the right. It goes up and then it comes down, and this tail keeps on going forever and ever and ever. And you'll notice that it's always a positive value. This is a good distribution to use when we have highly skewed to the right data. This will typically be used when I'm talking about financial data, because there are a few people that have a way more money than everybody else, and there's a lot of people who have very little money and are very far to the left of the distribution. That's usually how things like bank accounts and median household income works out. All right, so now it's log normal. Why is it called log normal? Because this is the result of taking a logarithm on the normal distribution and doing a transform. So to show you this, let's go ahead and let's take log of x. So here I'm applying a log transformation. And you'll notice, hey, I got the bell curve. So we can go back and forth between normal distribution and the log normal distribution using the correct transforms. But usually, most of the time, for us as actually digging into it, it's not a big issue. Now, if I need to program the log normal distribution into a computer so that I can reference it, I can use this technique and a table for the normal distribution. That'll work out beautifully. All right, that's all I've got. I hope you're staying healthy. Take care.